from the point of language means measuring the length or quality of something. Qiyas also means comparison with a view to suggesting equality or similarity between two things. The scholar of the Usul Fiqh give their definition of Qiyas. The angle of the term is to unite something that is not mentioned in the law with something that is mentioned by the law by Nas because of the unity of ilah between the two. In summary, Qiyas is to equate a problem that is not legal to the problems in the law. The equation is in terms of the ruling that have been risen because there are similarities between the two problems, the angles of ilah. As time progresses, more and more problems we get in the process of human interaction. We know that the Quran and Hadith are the source of the law that is still universal and splendid. So, it's the ijtihad the mujtahid. There is no denying the mujtahid practice are still indispensable in the enforcement of Islamic law.
And given, let's go through it one by one. First, original cases, or namely by ilah, as a general knowledge, original cases is not the actual case to another original case, which means the ruling must be based on nas or ijma rather than qiyas. For example, if there are several cases of comparison, they should all be referred to the original case. Next, let's go through by second condition, which is new cases or alpha. So, new cases will happen when it is necessary to eliminate two few conditions. As example, traveler is not required to pray because it is compulsory for them to fast is invalid. This is because it guarantees ijma, which states that prayer should not be abandoned. And the last one is the result of law of ilah. More requirements must be met. The following are some of the conditions agreed upon by fuqaha. It must be a distinct and easily identifiable characteristic in real life. Among the well-known examples is in the nature of the antiziotion. Among the well-known antiziotion caused by the act of drinking alcohol. It is unequivocal and proven. The same can be said for the young male trait that can be identified in a female entourage. It is consistent trait that does not change as people, circumstance, and time change. This trait is essential for meeting the requirement for similarity between the original case and new case. So, it is a transitive property that can be transferred to any appropriate case and it is not limited to the original case. The measure of weight, for example, should not be used as an illustration to the prohibiting of usually in the sale and purchase of such as cereals because the nature is only found in weight and cannot be applied to other cereals.
Qiyas have been divided into three types, which is Qiyas Awla, Qiyas Al-Musawi, and Qiyas Al-Adna. Qiyas Awla, or the analogy of the superior, means illah or the cause in this Qiyas is more evident than the original case. Qiyas Awla also means that the furu in Qiyas is more important or stronger than the original in terms of law. For example, Surah Isra, verse 23, which provides regarding parents. It was even prohibited to slap to parents. From this, it may be deducted that the prohibition of lashing or beating them is even more obvious than verbal abuse. It can be concluded that the furu, which is lashing and beating, is stronger than the original example given. Qiyas al-Musawi, or the analogy of equals, means that the law between the original and furu was under the same illah. In other words, the illah in this type of Qiyas is equally effective in both the new and the original case as the ruling which is deduced by the analogy. For example, Surah An-Nisa verse 2, which forbids the burning the property of orphans. Qiyas forbids burning and destroying the property of orphans to the forbids of consuming their property. Qiyas Al-Adna, or the analogy of inferior, also known as Qiyas Al-Adwan, means that the value of illah in the new case was less than the original case. Qiyas Al-Adna was less clearly furu or weaker than the original illah law. For example, the rule of riba. It is prohibited to exchange wheat and other certain commodities unless the two amounts are equal and the delivery is immediate.
Qiyas Ajali, which is very noticeable, is clearly defined and is in the Quran or Hadith. The equation between the asal and furu is obvious and the discrepancy between them is removed by clear evidence. For example, a woman who is not able to recite the Quran because she is not sacred. With Qiyas Ajali, the priority is applied to those who are in junub and they are also not allowed to recite the Quran. Ibn Umar narrated that the Prophet said the menstruating woman does not recite nor the junub anything from the Quran. Hadith riwayat At-Tirmidzi. 2. Qiyas al-Khafi means hidden. Qiyas al-Khafi have unclear illah and ulama should take long time to think to find the reason. The hidden analogy, Qiyas al-Khafi, differs from the obvious validity in that the removal of discrepancy between the asal and the furu is by means of a probability. For example, menstruating women are required to recite the Quran because of its descent. Although it is forbidden for women to recite the Quran based on Qiyas al-Jali because it differs in terms of duration for people who are menstruating and women whose menstrual period are different for short menstrual period, making the menstrual period unusable to recite the Quran is different from men who can recite all the time.
According to Islam, drugs are classified as haram substance that can cause intoxication and can make a person delusional. The law of drug abuse is not found in the Quran or Hadith, but the law of drug abuse is based on the law of prohibition of alcohol. In general, the Quran or Hadith forbid a Muslim to be caused and influenced by something abominable that can be self-destructive. This matter can be proven as a hadith from Ibn Abbas, which is "Wama askara fahuwal haram," meaning something that destroys the sanity of the man is haram. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala forbade something because it usually has its own wisdom, such as drug abuse. The ulama have agreed that the drug is included in the meaning of alcohol.
The source of illegal law of drugs is based on evidence compared to alcohol. Al-Quran mentioned a lot about this prohibition based on Al-Quran and Hadith. Alcohol and drugs are the same things that can cause intoxication, so that can destroy the person who takes it. This can be seen through the words of Allah, "At-tahlukatil ila bi-aydikum tunkuwala," which means do not throw yourself into destruction, from Surah Al-Baqarah. Based on the verse, it is illegal to do something that can destroy your body. As we know, drugs can cause a lot of harms to our body, such as we can be affected with HIV. Other than that, it can damage our mental and intellectual. Then, it also can cause of death. The content of drug abuse is not found in Al-Quran and Hadith, but it can be determined based on Qiyas. Ibnu Umar radhiyallahu anhu, indeed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, all intoxication are included in the meaning of alcohol and all of the intoxication are haram. Reported by Al-Imam Muslim. Therefore, individuals that start with the drug abuse will experience the mental and emotional damage. For example, individuals who are stuck in this program will forget the world or themselves, although their family.
According to Qiyas, the activity of using drug is haram as the law of taking alcohol, because the drug is also haram as explained by the scholars and based on the verse of the Quran and Hadith. In line with the Qiyas of the Hadith that Rasulullah SAW was the 10th group involved with the increasement, example sender, seller and buyers. Among the hadiths are the word of the Prophet SAW means indeed Allah forbid alcohol and it is price. Abu Dawud Al-Ijarah 3028. There are fatwas of scholars on drug and also from the Muzakarah of the Fatwa Committee of the National Council, where the fatwa ulama said drugs are illegal in terms of use, giving and business. Meanwhile, the Muzakarah of the Fatwa Committee of the National Council said that any drug abuse is illegal and therefore strictly prohibited, and drug can only be used for legitimate medical purpose according to conditions prescribed by law. Medicine can have a positive effect that can be used as medicine because it can help treat diseases and invigorate the body. Unsupervised drug use can be detrimental to a person is hurt. This matter is necessary to understand the content of medicine as a medicine to treat diseases. The word of Rasulullah SAW, which means for every disease as a cure, so when the cure is compatible with the disease, it will be healed with the permission of Allah Azza wa Jalla, reported by Al-Imam Muslim. In short, the law of taking methadone type drug on Muslim is a must to eliminate and treat drug addiction.
Ilah is the most main element to determine Qiyas. Ilah aims to know whether the value or nature of the similarity of law between the original case and the new case is taken into equation by the Islamic law in determining the similarity of law between the two. The equation in between the same two conditions is a matter of priority, or the law of the Sharia are developed on basis of an ilah as well as evidence. Whether the law relates to ibadah, muamalah and so on is permissible. Therefore, every hukum hakam in Islamic law has its own ilah. So for any issues to solve, by find the ilah before develop a new Islamic law.
Fiqh is an Islamic jurist and expert in fiqh of or is Islamic jurisprudence and Islamic law. The fuqaha are of the view that drugs and alcohol are no different between the two because they both have difference in terms of God and reasons. Among the reasons why Islam forbids drug is because it keeps human being always in a state of dignity and full control of the mind, and it is same as the act of drinking alcohol only harms the human mind. It would be a lame practice if this wisdom was not adopted in the case of drug taking. Therefore, drugs are also banned as a result of the similarity of cause and God. Although it has been explained earlier than this about the application of the method in Qiyas, there are among the fuqaha who do not agree with the prohibition of drugs using this method. The fuqaha are of the view that the method of Qiyas will only be referred to when there is no evidence about something that explains the method specifically. Has been explained before, if there is evidence from the Quran and As-Sunnah regarding the method, the evidence must be preceded, and in the case of drug prohibition, it is not appropriate to refer to Qiyas.
Islam has banned the use of drugs that resemble alcohol because it eliminates the function of the mind. Drugs are actually worse than alcohol because of its transient addiction and delusion, and its more devastating negative effect on the people around. A fatwa issued by the former Mufti of Egypt, Al-Sheikh Hazani Makhluf, stated that drugs are illegal in the term of use, giving and making business sin. Addiction means excessive drug use will bring feelings of happiness and addiction for the purpose of escaping from reality. The effect means mind show up only when a drug is mixed with certain other things. This might be called drug interaction, and calling to magnetic energy means side effect like an energy reaction could happen with any drug that can range from magic and rounds all the way to a life-threatening and debilitating reaction.
Qiyas has many meanings from different scholar opinion. Qiyas is a recourse to analogy is only warranted if the solution of a new case cannot be found in the Quran, the Sunnah, or a definite ijma. There are four rulings of Qiyas which are the original case, the new case, the effective cause, and the rules. Thus, Qiyas can be viewed as a process of thinking in order to issue a law. Qiyas is also one of the propositions that can be used as a guide to the existence of law by a rule that has been recognized by its strength and truth. Qiyas from the point of illah is divided into two, namely Qiyas Jali and Qiyas Khafi. In conclusion, Qiyas help Muslims in seeking law to something new. Qiyas can only happen in the matter does not have a law.